Hello, folks, and welcome to Real Estate Q&A. I'm your host, Greg Delane, and what we do here on the show is we answer frequently asked questions. I've been in the business about 15 years. We answer frequently asked questions that we come across in the real estate business. Our goal here is to help inform the public about the buying and selling process. Today on our show, we're going to be talking about home inspections, and my guest today is Michael Carnicelli. And Mike, I want you to tell us a little bit about Carnell and the business that you're in.
Okay, thanks for having me. We are a 40-year-old home inspection company that my father started. And the way it started was he was doing inspections for friends on the side. He's an engineer, and this was before home inspection was an industry. And over time, he's built up a business where we have multiple inspectors. Doing, pre-purchase home inspections. I joined him about 15 years ago at a college. I had no job when I graduated on a Saturday, and he took me on Monday. So that's what I do.
Where do you guys service, where do you take in and do your inspections?
Well, we were based in Scarsdale for years and years and years. We're Westchester based, and most of the work does come out of Westchester County. But we have inspectors in Connecticut. We have inspectors in New Jersey. We do some work on Long Island. But the base is Westchester County.
Okay, so now I know recently, but can we tell our audience, I know that there are, who can do a home inspection? And do you need license, and what's going on there?
Okay, yeah, well, that comes up. Up until about 3 years ago, there was no such thing as licensing. So you could do a home inspection without a license. But there were good home inspectors. You didn't need a license. There were good ones, and people found them through word of mouth, through friends, through real estate agents and attorneys. But now you do need a license. So someone entering the home inspection business needs to take some educational, credits. They need to apprentice. And they need to have insurance. That becomes an issue now. So it's much more difficult to become a home inspector. And most home inspectors, people don't know this, but most home inspectors are not engineers or architects. So they come from all different walks of life. And if the key thing is the number of inspections they've done. So that's really something that's very important, that you choose an inspector that hasn't done 5. You want someone that's done 500.
Is that governed by the state now, the licensing?
Yeah, Department of State now licenses home inspectors as of just a few years back. So for years, this was an unlicensed industry.
Wow. Yeah, usually people are saying you need an engineer inspection. And I know when I first got in the business, the first couple of properties that I sold, and the guy came and he was supposed to be doing an engineer inspection. I wondered, are you an engineer? Did you go to college to do this?
Yeah.
But turned out he was, a carpenter. And
No, listen, people toss around engineer inspection or engineer report, and we even toss it around, and we have engineers and architects that work for us. But that's something maybe that someone should explain to them, that they're not all engineers, but they can still do a good home inspection.
I've bought 3 or 4 homes, and I've been in hundreds, and I've been with the inspectors when they did inspections, and I know quite a bit about it. I certainly don't think that I'm an inspector, but after a while, you certainly look for things, and you kind of know. Let me get to some of the questions.
Okay, go.
What comprises a home inspection? What do you do when you go out? Say I'm getting ready to buy a house or make an offer.
Okay.
I call you, Mike. I need an inspection.
Yeah. Well, the way this works now is that in busy time, you want to call a home inspector in advance. Home inspectors have cell phones, and they want to take that call and book the job. And home inspections usually done when a seller accepts the offer, meaning at that point they're ready to inspect the home. And you can usually get a home inspector out there within a day or two. Some guys are flexible, they'll work weekends, work in the evening, although I'd probably tell someone not to hire a home inspector at 6 o'clock at night, because obviously the daylight becomes an issue and you can't see as much. So, you certainly don't want to impair an inspector. But once you start, I would say the most important thing is you meet on the site, and that's really the key to the whole thing. Take the time to get out there with the inspector, because it's a tour of the house, and that's what an inspection is. It's a walking tour of the house. They're going to describe how things work. They're going to point out deficiencies. They're also going to point out good things about the house. And one thing that people get confused on is it's not an appraisal, and you can speak to that as well, but an appraisal is a value of the house, and that's not what a home inspector does. A home inspector tells you what you got, tells you some approximate age of the equipment, and I'm talking about the major things,
yes.
The heating, the plumbing, the electrical, the roof, the structure. And then sometimes we get down and dirty. We'll look at the grounds, we'll look at the appliances, so it's a good 2-hour process. If it takes 20 minutes, it's way too short. If it takes 8 hours, it's probably way too long.
What are the cans that they leave? I know what they are,
Yeah.
but what do they leave in the house?
Yeah.
That stay overnight and they have to come back, and you always see them setting them in. Do you guys do that also?
Yeah, that's a radon test, and radon is a radioactive gas, naturally occurring. This might hurt business, but Westchester County is low risk, the lowest of low risk in terms of radon. Now, radon is EPA estimates about 15,000 people die of radon exposure every year. It's a lot of people, so I'm not downplaying it, but it's a test that's done primarily in real estate transactions, and it's a test that has to take a few days. So the home inspector will leave the canisters and then come back and retrieve them and test the canisters.
What's more dangerous, radon or asbestos?
That's a good question. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
it wasn't on your list, Greg.
No.
No.
I just thought I'd throw
you
that
threw
in.
it out there. Well, asbestos for years, people in the insulating business have been affected by asbestos exposure. But they're both, asbestos has specific cancers associated with it, like mesothelioma, asbestosis. You can only get asbestosis from exposure to asbestos.
Wow.
So they're both environmental toxins. They're different from the standpoint of radon is, well, they're both naturally occurring. Asbestos is a mineral,
Sure.
and it was mined from the ground and then used in products to make them stronger, make them fireproof. I mean, it's still the best insulator we have. So, what you want to do with both of these things is limit your exposure.
Okay.
If at all possible. That's probably the best way to approach it.
Now, if and I don't want to just stay with asbestos, but if it's in good shape and it's not in bad shape, what do you guys say? I mean,
There's no doubt about it. From day one, EPA, which is Environmental Protection Agency, said if it's in good shape, leave it alone. Now, asbestos started, the big scare was in the schools, and then they started regulating the schools, and from day one, that's what they've been saying, and people have interpreted it the wrong way, meaning people hear asbestos, oh, it's in my house, I must do something about it, and that's not always the case. You can always leave it in place, you can always monitor it.
Do you guys refer people to where they could test it? Because I tell you what, I've been on a lot of inspections, and some people say, oh, that's asbestos-like. And I said, well, is it asbestos or not? Where can I send this to make sure what it is? And instead of saying, oh, it's asbestos-like, so it must be it, we have to...
Okay, yeah, to defend the inspectors, asbestos-like is a way for them to say it could be, it probably is. I mean, it has a look. You know, you have to you consider the age of the house. Pipe insulation in basements, vinyl floor tile, asbestos shingles on the exterior. Sometimes there's asbestos roofs. There's thousands of products, but the point is, you can always assume it's positive, meaning it's asbestos. That's a safe way to go. Don't assume it's not. So the way to do it is you're supposed to hire an asbestos inspector that has a license in New York. You take a physical specimen, called a bulk sample, put it in a plastic bag or in a tube, and the lab's going to look at it, and they're going to determine the percent by weight. And if it's over 1% asbestos by weight, regardless if it's 2 or 99%, it's all considered asbestos. It's all the same.
Okay, if somebody's out there right now and they want to know, can they call you, your office, and say, "How do I go about that?" I'm sure you. I don't
Sure.
know anybody that does
Yeah,
that.
we have asbestos inspectors
Okay.
on staff. We can handle that.
How long does a inspection take? And let's say the house is 1,500 square feet,
Right.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's a basement. It's a cape. It has an upstairs, and the house was built in 1950. How long should a
Yeah.
inspection take? A
Well,
good inspection.
yeah, it's going to vary. So it depends on a couple factors. If the house has been well maintained, it should be faster.
Mhm.
If the client brings along their father and their brother and their sister, and they all got questions, then it could take a little longer. If they have a lot of questions, it all can add time. Now, the point is that my inspectors usually have 2 inspections a day. We don't usually push them to 3 because they get tired. That's a good tip. Try to get a guy first thing in the morning. But he's got to go to the next one. Not that you're trying to rush an inspection. So the way we gauge it, if it's a 3,000, 3,500 square foot, 4,000 square foot house, we want to start that in the afternoon so we can take more time if need be.
I see.
Okay, but it really depends. I mean, we could spend 8 hours from start to finish by the time you write the report, speak to the client. If a client doesn't show up, which again is a no-no, client really should be there. That's the value of it. We could be in and out of a house in an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
Without the distractions, they could do it. But then you might spend 2 hours on the phone with them explaining the inspection.
Has your company gone to inspections because the deal is contingent on one thing, and they say, "Listen, the system, the furnace system, we need to have an inspector come in." They don't concern about the roof.
Yeah.
Everything is worked out. Have you gone just for one specific thing
Yeah.
to take a look at?
Yeah, it's a consultation.
Okay.
I probably advise them if they haven't done an inspection that they should think about doing a full-blown inspection, including that furnace.
Yes.
And because you might save a few $100s, but you really have to. I mean, it's a really important part of the process to have that inspector go through it, and be on your side.
Who pays? This is a big question. Who pays for the inspection normally?
Normally, the buyer. Yeah.
Given the way the market is right now, would it be wise for sellers to have one done so that they kind of know if you've been in the house and 30, 40 years,
Right.
would it be wise for the seller to do one in advance so that the other inspector is not coming in and saying things that maybe you guys came in and said, "Well, this is what it is."
Right.
Have you had sellers do them?
Of course. Certainly, we do 95% for buyers, and there are some what I call savvy sellers that will hire us. Now, we approach it the same way, and we used to do a different type of report, but we basically go in and do the same home inspection, provide the same report, so they know what a home inspector is going to pick on.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
And again, people have been in the house 20 years. A lot can go awry. And the other point is that they haven't had an inspection, or they don't know the process. So they need to know that someone's now going to be looking at their buried oil tank. And someone now might be more concerned about the mold that's in the basement.
Wow.
So you need to kind of ease them into it so it's not a shock.
Yeah.
When they see a home inspector, they might say to you, "Oh, when we had the house inspected 15 years ago, the guy was here, half an hour, didn't say anything about the buried oil tank or the asbestos or the." So I think it's a great idea, whether they want to put the money forward to have that inspection done. That's really where it stops.
During the summertime, people get out and they want to put up fences and they want to surround their pool with something, or they put an above ground pool and they do all this work on the outside of the house. If you're thinking of selling in the next year or two, I think it would be wise for you to have an inspection. To have somebody come over as the owner of the house, have them come over, and it's like a little class, and you walk through and you kind of feel, because you might find that instead of spending $10,000 on your new walkway, you might need to replace the furnace. It might not be energy efficient. How would you know unless you had somebody come in? So I think it should be, you said 95% of them are the buyers.
Yeah.
And of course that's in a regular deal, and 5% are the sellers. I think that sellers ought to be a little higher. It ought to be like 15 or 20%.
That would be nice.
You know?
For my business.
Okay. How long should it take Well, you said it takes about 2 hours, right?
Yeah, I would say 2 hours is a good time to expect them to put forth.
What procedure should be taken if an issue is found during the inspection?
Okay.
What what do we do?
Well, the clients, usually at the end of the inspection, we're going to present a wrap-up, items of concern or a summary, verbally with them. This is what my concerns are. And then and people will pick out the issues they're concerned about, and they're smart and they know. In terms of what we do is then we write up a report and we send it to them. Today with computers, things get out fast, so
Sure.
what I tell my clients is that the report is a summary of what we saw and what we said. We can't write everything in the report, but we certainly will focus on if there's a problem with the furnace, or there's a problem with water in the basement. We might write a little bit more about that particular problem. Now, what people do with it is really not for me to say, whether they take that and go back to they speak to their attorney or the real estate agent and say, hey, look, this is a deficiency I didn't know about. And then what we can help them with is if the seller gets back to them and says, look, this is what they propose to fix the problem, do you think that's an appropriate fix?
Yeah.
We can help them with that. Or the problem, they want to spend $200 on the problem, but you said that it's more like $2,000, so maybe they're not doing the right job. But in terms of negotiating, we don't really tell them who should pay for what, who should fix what. That's not really our job.
The first house my wife and I bought, the real estate agent had referred this home inspector to come do the inspection.
Right.
Now, in my office, when somebody wants to do a home inspection and says, well, who should I use? I usually give them 3 business cards. And I say, make the call, speak to each of them, look at their background. The ones that are good have websites. You can go into it. But anyway, I was very new in this business, didn't know, and I had to get in the house, and the guy charged me like $400, and I remember he didn't get on the roof.
Okay.
Which is okay. I mean, he stood across the street and he had some binoculars,
Yeah.
and he did a big and the bells and whistles. I thought I was getting a great deal. When I closed on the house, it turned out that the homeowner had laid plywood on top of like a layer, 2 layers of shingles, and put another shingle on top of that. And I couldn't get insurance until I did till I redid the roof, and the guy didn't see it.
Interesting.
He did not see it. And then when I got it, then of course I got a ladder and I went up and I pulled up a shingle, and there was a whole thing of plywood on top of 2 shingles. I said, when it snows, I bet the weight is so heavy on
You
this
need
thing.
to run a disclaimer. Do not go up on the roof mad. Don't do this at home.
Listen,
Yeah.
I was so upset.
Yeah, I understand.
And not that, but if you would have found it, I could have brought that to the table and
sure.
said, listen, it's going to cost me $10,000 to do the roof.
It's not the right way to do it. You have 1 layer of sheathing, and then which is the plywood,
Yeah.
and then the shingle. If someone put another layer of very often they will put shingle over shingle.
Yeah. This had 2 shingles,
and
plywood.
oh boy,
It looked
yeah.
new.
Well,
But-
we got fooled, or your inspector got fooled.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
do that inspection, by the way. Correct? Roofs that are safe to walk on, flat especially,
Yes.
or with a low, slope, will walk on.
Okay.
All right, not every inch, but we'll walk on it.
Sure.
When you have slate roofs, obviously you can't walk on.
No.
But binoculars are our friends,
Sure.
and very often you can see. You can't see at the edges. Maybe there's multiple layers.
Yes.
But you know what? Certain things are missed. In a matter of 2 hours, you can't catch everything. So
How many layers can be on the roof? I mean,
I think once they start getting past 3,
yeah, that's a lot of weight.
it's a better job to pull them off every time. Not even put a shingle on top of a shingle. But it's cheaper.
Michael, how many inspections have you done?
I don't do them.
Oh, okay. See, I'm speaking to the boss. Whenever, in order to get on this show, and I've said this all the time, in order to get on the show, experience is the difference. You got to be in this business for a long time.
Yeah.
And if your name is on the door, I really want you on the show.
Oh, okay.
If your
I thought you were going to kick me off stage.
No.
No, I don't do them. I actually run the office.
Uh-huh.
And I run one of the divisions, the environmental. That's my thing. That's why we talked about some asbestos and some radon. But that's what I do. I've not done one. Now, My father is the father of home inspections. He's done thousands and thousands, but he's trained his people to do inspections for us. Again, engineers and architects. But on top of that, experience and,
Sure.
and a lot of these guys, they love it. They're like MacGyver. They love it. They go out there and they love figuring this out.
Yes.
And they love helping people. And when you stop loving the house and the people, you got to stop you get out of the business. But it's a grueling business. People are in a different state of mind, as you know, buying a house. But we're there for them. I mean, you do the job, you take the calls, you deal with the issues, you deal with the problems. There's callbacks.
Sure.
It's a business like any other business.
I've always said that the three biggest financial decisions you'll ever make in your life is, and they're not in this order, but children, having children, certainly getting married, and buying your first home. They're major decisions, and you have to have professional people to come in and give you a hand with this. Now, Mike, you also teach.
I do.
And I know that you were on time here today for this show, but where were you right before you got here?
I was at the Westchester County Board of Realtors doing a introductory course for new agents. It's a 3-hour environmental segment that they need for licensing. So they have to listen to me. And people at home can turn off the television. These people.
They have to listen.
That's right.
Any talent down there? Maybe I'll get me a couple new agents.
Any talent?
Yeah.
Well, they're all new.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean by talent. Some good-looking people.
Okay. Mike, you were born and raised here?
I was.
All right. How many kids?
I have 3 children.
All right,
I have
give
to
the
mention.
names.
I have to mention. I have twin girls that are 6, Sophia and Lily.
Okay.
And my son will be 2 in May, and his name is Ryan.
What are their interests?
The
girls, what do they like?
Oh, well, they like Hannah Montana.
Okay.
And they like Disney.
Yeah.
Disney television. Let's see, they're into gymnastics. They're into whatever we have to drive them to. You know what I'm saying?
What's that guy's name? He made a hit song, country singer, Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah.
His daughter.
Yeah. That's Hannah Montana. Miley Cyrus, yeah.
I was looking on this thing where she was appearing somewhere, and the people had bought up all the tickets, and they're going to make some kind of law against that, because guys like you and I, if my daughter's a lot older, but if I wanted to buy some tickets, the second they come online, they were gone. And these people are buying them up in bulks and then scalping them for thousands.
The closest we could get to her concert was the movie. They did it in 3D. And my in-laws took them. They had to scalp a ticket to the movie. They had to buy a scalp ticket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you sing?
No.
Can your daughter sing?
They try.
Let's get them out there, man. When somebody told me, well, that's Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. He's on the show with her.
See? Sure, I don't watch any of this.
I have to, and I hate to tell you, there's some adult humor in it, and I enjoy it.
Now, your son, what is he interested in?
Wrecking things.
Okay.
And I told my wife the other day, I said, if we had twin boys, and not the girls, we wouldn't have had any more. He's given us a run for our money. He's into everything.
Where do you think he gets that from?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
His
Good
mother.
answer. Good answer. Okay, we are coming up. This show goes so quick. We got about 3 minutes left. Is there anything that you would like to say before I ask you the top 4 questions that you want to say about your business and how easy it is to get to you? And is there anything you'd like to...
You want contact information, or I'll give a website. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name your website.
It's www.carnell, C-A-R-N-E-L-L, engineering. And there's some good information on there. There's a link to some informational websites, and then there's a email and phone numbers. You know, what can I say? I mean, we've said some stuff. We work for our clients. We do the best we can for our clients. It's a family-run business. Right now, me more than my father, but it's work. It's work, and these people are making a big investment, and we're a part of it.
Did you? I don't remember, but did you tell what the basic price, or because I don't ever like to quote prices?
Yeah, no, that's a tough thing for a real estate agent.
For a basic house, like I had said, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, built in the 50s, 1,500 square feet, 2-hour inspection.
Our base fee is about $4.25.
Okay.
but they can go up. And one of the problems I've seen, even with real estate agents or attorneys, is that they'll say, "Oh, it's $300," and then the people call around and they're expecting $300, and
Yeah.
everyone they're calling, the
Yeah.
three you gave them,
Yeah.
are saying 400, 500, 600. It depends on the house, and it depends on the services.
You get what you pay for. You know, you can have your Uncle Louie come out there that's done some decks in his life and have him walk through the house. And not that he doesn't know a lot, but you want a professional person there.
The advice there is don't hire Uncle Louie, but ask him to come with you to the home inspection.
Louie's a pain.
You
We
like
don't
it.
want
Everyone has an Uncle Louie.
He's a pain. He gets there, he thinks he knows.
Well, then you have to feed him for 3 days, right? He stays over.
Okay, Mike, we got to the last questions here.
The hard ones.
Here's the tough question.
Yeah.
Favorite sport?
Favorite sport. I like every sport, but right now, college basketball, March Madness. I mean, I love watching these kids.
Okay.
I love it.
Who do you want to win?
Well, now we're down.
What was that? Gary Stooks told us did they lose last night? What college is it that you're pulling for?
Well, I live in Connecticut, so I would have to say UConn, but they were out early.
Yeah.
They were out early.
So basketball.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Favorite sports team?
Sports team. It's got to be the Mets.
It's got to be
I
the
know.
Mets.
I'm like putting my foot in my mouth because I like college basketball, but baseball. I mean,
The guy that
baseball.
was just here, that attorney, he's a big Mets
Yeah,
guy.
he had a
He
hat
does-
on.
Yeah, yeah. You might want to come on his show. He's a diehard Met fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in your blood. I got blue blood.
Well, you're talking to a Yankee fan. now,
Uh-oh.
so.
Uh-oh.
What other profession would you like to have practiced?
I told my wife I would like to be a chef.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come and order some soup de pêche.
Well,
Why chef? You love
I don't
to
know.
cook?
I do love to cook.
Okay. What's your best meal?
Breakfast.
I can do cereal, man. I mean, what do you?
I do crepes.
Ah.
That's embarrassing to say.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I do pancakes and waffles, and my kids get hot breakfasts
See,
all the
see?
time. And my wife, she gets upset when I cook because I make a mess.
Ah.
So I have to get down and start early, or she's like, "You're not cooking breakfast."
If I want my wife to come in the kitchen, all I have to do is come and slam some doors, and wherever she's at in the house, she'll come in there.
She knows.
What are you doing? What do you want?
Security,
Yeah.
kitchen security.
Here's the remote. Go have a seat. What do you want? All right. You know, we're only here on this earth, Mike, for a cup of coffee. You and I, we won't be here. What would you like people to remember of you once we're gone?
Of me personally.
Yes.
I like people to remember me by my family, I would
Okay.
say.
Sure.
I want them to be a reflection of me. I want them to be good people. And I see my parents, how good they are.
Yeah.
And I want my kids to be good. But, in terms of me personally, I'm a pretty casual guy. I want people to have a good time around me and laugh a little bit.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a
And
pleasure.
that's the show. Thank
appreciate
you so
it.
much.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week.